Texas high school football playoffs are just around the corner, which means it's time for teams to make a final push to extend their season beyond Week 11. Another wild week under the Friday night lights produced phenomenal finishes and standout performances. We'll reward the best of the best right here on the Billboard Tough Player of the Week show. And we welcome you into a very special edition of this week's show as Tepper and I have rolled out the red carpet for two very esteemed guests here. Our private school winner, Shedeur Sanders of Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, along his head coach, Andre Hart. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
You guys made it.
They're admiring the turf. Can you believe Greg Tepper does like demos on here? He tries to play whiteout.
Listen,
it's
listen.
really
this is about Shedeur.
Okay.
Let's give it to the people who actually know how to play football.
We won't get into making fun of Tepper. Congrats on the honor, my man. Congrats on being named the best in your class this week. I'm curious to know, how'd you find out and what was your reaction?
My Coach Hart right here told me, and I just found out recently, so I was just excited. Coach, we've been practicing all week hard and all that, so I mean, it was bound to happen.
Awesome. Coach, delivering the news had to have been a pretty proud moment for you, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. You like to cap things off after a great game, and the season's going so good right now with an award like that. And to give it to your leader and be able to present that in front of the whole team was exciting for him. And if you just saw how the team reacted,
the team was crazy.
Yeah, they were really excited too. So to put that on top of what we've accomplished so far, it just makes the end goal a little bit more attainable.
Shedeur, obviously you had things working against McKinney Christian. You go out there and put up a big game. What was it? What were you seeing? What in particular was going right for you?
It was really just like during the week in practice, the coaches had a good set up scout team. So we're just going through progressions and reads the night before, just drawing on the board what the defense is going to look like. Then, I mean, it was just like practice, really.
Now, Hart, or Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about, how you've seen Shedeur grow. This is a guy who I know that you get to see him every day in practice. We can see the numbers. We can see, all the things that he does on the field. But what is it about your quarterback? I'm going to let you brag on him. What is it about him that makes him special?
Well, besides having it in his DNA
Bloodlines help.
Yeah, to be that leader, to be that dog. He's a gym rat. I know we use that a lot with basketball, but he spends time in the film room. He does the things that are not God-given talents to you, like the physical traits. He actually spends time learning. He goes to Jeff Blake, former quarterback in the NFL, every summer, every year, gets with him to work on his mechanics and his intangibles, and he brings that to the field. A lot of players, they work on it, but you don't see it on the field. With him, you do. So.
Well, and you were starting as a freshman.
Yeah, freshman year.
How have you seen yourself change?
Really, I just know from freshman year to now, I know it was just crazy. Just looking back on the games, like, dang, I could have made this throw really easy. Like, it's just a big difference. Like, I see myself grow on the field.
Well, I know you have led him to back-to-back state titles, and y'all are rocking and rolling this season, Coach. How are we feeling so far?
Feeling really good about it. We got a tough game coming up this week, but we're going to take it one day at a time, and hopefully we can get back there again and hold that trophy up one more time.
All right, Shedeur, let's address the elephant in the room. All right, let's address your father. Okay, Deion Sanders.
He's already got his smile. I had to note that.
I'm interested. How you feel like he helps you to become a better football player.
He helps me tremendously. Like, people, y'all don't really know, he's really he's a hard coach now. Like, in practice, he'll yell at you, get on you, do all that. So then, whenever it's time to play for another coach at the next level, it's like easy.
So you don't get any special treatment?
Oh, not at all. If anything, it's 5 times worse.
Well, Coach, and I want to ask you, we have you at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, not to brag. We have you the #1 team in the private school ranks. Obviously, a big honor, but comes with a target on your chest. How do you guys handle being the hunted?
That's a good question. I guess you just keep moving. You got to keep moving. If you're at the top, and the folks behind you are trying to catch you, you just got to keep moving. You can't stop. So we do that. We do that with a grain of salt. We get attacks on the field and off the field from different people, but we just try to keep together and keep moving forward.
Well, and what's cool is you're in your first year as head coach of the program. You've been around. You were DC for the last 2 years, but now it's kind of your chance to put your imprint on things.
Yes.
What imprint do you want to put on this program?
Well, we've been together as a coaching staff for over 12, 13 years, so our imprint is pretty much the same. Nothing much has changed from what we try to do. I think the only thing that we want to continue to do is get these guys into college. Make sure they're great men, but let them realize their dreams and get into college. So I want to keep that as my testament, is my thing that I give back to the school, is how many kids we made successful and get to the next level.
All right, Shedeur, we make a lot of comparisons on this show, but I'm going to let you compare yourself to somebody. Whose game do you think you model yourself after?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, I'm telling you.
Listen.
Why?
Because look, Tom Brady, he doesn't really run the ball like that at all. But when he has to, he does sometimes. So I say that. I say him, definitely.
You got 2 rings right now.
Hey,
Two rings.
About 5 more?
Tom
think we can
wouldn't
do
be
that.
able to rock chains like that. That's all I just got to say. Tom wouldn't be able to rock the chains like you do.
I think Tom has a little style, though, to him.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay.
Under Armour, yeah. Got a little style to him.
Well, so do you, my friend. Can we address the style? And I know you mentioned, your brother, Deion Sanders Jr., owns a clothing line and whatnot. And you have a lot of big aspirations for the future. What do you want to do from here on out?
Really, I want to make it to the league. That's number one. But really, just make a name for myself. Really, not just live off my dad's name.
Well, you are well on your way. That is for certain. And we cannot wait to watch the rest of the season play out. Best of luck to these two. Coach Andre Hart, along your private school, built for a tough player of Week 8, Shedeur Sanders. Congrats again to you guys as we're just getting started here on the Built for a Tough Player of the Week party. Up next, our 6A winner joins us after leading his team to a win in one of the highest scoring affairs in state history. You're going to want to stick around. Player of the Week show is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Fans, don't forget the Texas Ford dealers are looking for outstanding student athletes to be recognized as the Built for Tough Player of the Week so that Greg Tepper, the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, can celebrate them on air each and every week. Nominate your gridiron hero today at playeroftheweek.com. As the aforementioned, and I welcome you back to the Built for a Tough Player of the Week show, where we continue to celebrate the stars of Week 8, or as we like to call some, the closers of Week 8, because boy, did we have some nail-biting finishes.
Yeah, so let's go to the craziest game of the year. It's Cy Lakes taking on Tomball Memorial. We pick up in the fourth quarter when it is 66-63.
That's
when
it?
Safine Massoud finds Josh McMillan, who breaks the tackle and takes it in for 6. Spartans go on top 70-66. But the Wildcats would respond. Colton Marwell, this kid was nails! Hits Logan Kyle in the end zone. Tomball Memorial with a 3-point lead. Now game winding down. Last chance for the Spartans. They go with the hook and lateral play. This is going to bounce around a little bit. Looks like he's got a little bit of a seam. The ball eventually is going to find Amir Turner.
Oh my gosh.
And running, looking, surrounded. Ball is loose again. But finally, this miracle win for Tomball Memorial in one of the craziest games you'll see. 73-70, the highest scoring 11-man game of the year across the state of Texas. Goodness gracious.
20 touchdowns in that game. 8 of those came in the final quarter, and half of those 8 in the final 3 minutes, including Colton Marwell's game winner with 22 seconds to play for his 8th, just his 8th touchdown of the night. It's why he was your Class 6A Built for a Tough Player of Week 8. Is Colton Marwell still scoring? Oh, he's joining us now along his head coach, Sam Parker. Guys, welcome to the show. And Colton, the congrats to you, my man. How did you learn that you were the best player this week, and what was your reaction to that?
Yesterday, Coach Parker called me in and told me, and I was just really thankful and proud to have this achievement.
And Colton, I want to ask you what was working for you besides everything on last Saturday. Obviously, it was a crazy game, but from your perspective, when you're in that kind of shootout, when you're just going back and forth, what does anything about your mindset change, or is it just go out there and play?
I really just had to go out there and play. I mean, my O-line gave me plenty of time, and those receivers I have out there, all I got to do is put the ball in the air, and they do all the work.
Coach, I'm going to give you an opportunity to brag on your guy. Why is he this week's Class 6A Built for a Tough Player of the Week?
I probably couldn't be more proud of a quarterback I've ever coached, just because of what he's gone through to get to this point. his sophomore year, he kind of waited and then put in all the work in the spring. And, you guys are recognizing me, and that's awesome. And I feel so proud. But he's just now scratching the surface of what he can be and what he is. And we are just absolutely thrilled to have him. And we've been telling him, I've been telling him since his freshman year how amazing he was going to be. And just overwhelmingly proud to be associated with him and that we get to coach him.
Coach Parker, I want to ask you maybe about how you've seen him grow. Obviously, this is a guy who's playing extremely well right now, but I'm sure that there were times where he was struggling a little bit. How have you seen him grow and change as a quarterback?
The biggest thing that he's done is just completely trust the offense. Quarterbacks as a whole want to go out there and solve all the problems right away, and he has just absolutely taken the offense. And we just read one defender and throw the ball. And the good thing about Colton is that he's super intelligent and knows the offense and can direct all 11 people on the field. And also he has, some great receivers, but he has overwhelmingly done a great job of blowing the offense well enough to put people in the right spots to make us successful.
Well, and Colton, you guys are rolling 6-1 this season. What are you guys capable of doing this year?
We think the sky's the limit for us, and if we keep on playing our football, we can win just about any game we play.
And Colton, finally, I want to ask you a little bit about what you guys have going forward. Obviously, you guys get another big district game this week. But as far as these next few weeks, we're rounding into the final few weeks of the season. What are you guys hoping to accomplish?
We just want to win out. Take every game the same. We know that no matter who we play, we got to play our own football, and that's about it.
Listen, he's Colton Barr. He does a lot of scoring, and he's your 6A built for a tough player of the week. Coach, we going for what, like 80? Where are we setting the bar this week?
The best thing about that is that we ended up on top, because I have a feeling that if we didn't have more points than they did, then you'd be interviewing somebody else. So one more point than they have is our ultimate goal.
Listen, you guys are a blast to watch. Appreciate the time today and looking forward to the rest of the season, guys. Congrats again, Colton.
Thank you.
There he goes. Now, here's the thing. Our next quarterback only won 43-36, and I say that because Tomball Memorial now has us completely jaded, right?
Yeah, they've moved. When you were in class, and I relied on this a lot, where they grade on a curve. It's like the curve got ruined by Tomball Memorial and sidelines, but Colton Barr balling out.
A blast to watch, and with that game winner with 22 seconds to play, it's why he's your 6A built for a tough player of the week. Now, as we move on to that next quarterback who did indeed get his team a win, 43-36, White House, home of one Patrick Mahomes. TEP can also churn out the field. Generals senior quarterback Kaden Casey, your Class 5A player of Week 8, after completing 10 of 18 for 209 and 4 scores with best stat, 0 interceptions, and leading the Wildcats to a 4-0 district start. So this kid has had a long road of injuries, but he's back and he's protecting the football, which is key.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head, is that this is a guy who struggled a little bit with injuries, but I know that the coaching staff out there, Marcus Gold, is really high on what he's able to do. And this is a guy that I think is kind of turning into that complete quarterback, a guy who's being able to read the defense and find a way forward. And, now that he's got the look, 6'1", 185 pounds, but I think that he is I think that he's got that speed that I think is really underrated. And the thing that impresses me most is that this guy, I think, had a lot of opportunities to quit and say, you know what, nah, this isn't for me, and dealing with a lot of injuries, but he has found a way through it, and I'm sure Marcus Gold is happier for it.
Never gets too high, never gets too low is what Coach Gold notes there. So a kid that truly appreciates the game and his time in it and making the most of it. As we move along to Class 4A, where, speaking of arms, Cooper McCollum of Wimberley, TEP, how about him? The senior quarterback threw for 293 in just the first half. He also used the legs as well, finishing with 383 total yards and 6 touchdowns over previously unbeaten Bandera.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head there. This was a really big game for Wimberley, going up against then unbeaten Bandera, wanting to come out and make a statement. And boy, did Cooper McCollum make a statement. He was laser sharp in this game. 80% passing, also doing a little bit of work on the ground. The ability, this is not an offense in Wimberley which calls a lot of designed quarterback runs. This is instead, they want to keep him in the pocket, but what he did from the pocket was really impressive, but it was his ability to move around and keep his feet, keep his balance, find a way to push the ball downfield. Wimberley has always been an offense that pushes the ball downfield. They want to hit big plays, and Cooper McCollum seems particularly well suited to do that. You know, bigger challenges ahead on the horizon. They get Geronimo Navarro, could be the first of 2 meetings between them, but I'll tell you that Wimberley is flying high, thanks in large part to their Built for Tough Player of the Week quarterback.
Right now, rolling 6-1 behind Cooper McCollum. Congrats again to him on being named your Class 4A Built for Tough Player of the Week. As we roll along here on the show, when we return, we'll put a bow on our weekly awards show, crowning 3A and 2A winners. Plus, we look ahead to Week 9. It's the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. Keep it here. The Built for Tough Player of the Week show is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Welcome back to the show. And Tup, speaking of big games last week, how about Leonard over Blue Ridge? Thanks to its sophomore quarterback and safety and his 5 total touchdowns, as DJ Brown is your Class 3A Built for Tough Player of the Week, Tup.
Yes, DJ Brown was spinning it, get it? But this was a guy who, coming into the year, I know that Coach Shane Fletcher was really excited about. He started as a freshman last year and really grew as the season went on. He had a terrific freshman season. He's a gifted dual threat guy. He's very intelligent. He's a guy who knows what he's doing when he has the football. And he showed out in their big win over Blue Ridge. You know, when you talk about carrying the ball 33 times for 5 touchdowns and then throwing the ball 13 times for 156 yards, I mean, he is in many respects the Leonard offense. In a lot of ways, that's what this offense revolves around, is DJ Brown. And by the way, you said it was a big win over Blue Ridge. Let's not let's not let that go by. You know, This is a team that is in the midst of a playoff push, and that is the kind of thing that pushes them right up towards the top of that district. Leonard is looking to get back into the playoffs in that really wild, balanced district with Blue Ridge and Bells and a few other squads down there in 3A. And so for me, this was DJ Brown coming through in a big moment. This was one of the biggest games of the year for Leonard, and he came up aces again and again in a huge win over Blue Ridge. That's the kind of game that gets you into the playoffs. And so for me, DJ Brown, the numbers are one thing, but the context through which it came with is really impressive.
Well, and listen, he was the district newcomer of the year in football and basketball last year as a freshman. So this is a kid that bursted onto the scene and is playing well beyond his years. So congrats to DJ Brown on 3A honors. Question regarding our Class 2A Player of the Week, Tep. What can't Aaron Patino do for LaPryor, seeing the senior wideout and DB also serves as backup quarterback and kicker, while also punting the ball? In fact, last week's Tep, it was tipped. He managed to also catch the ball after punting it behind the line of scrimmage and then run it in for a first down.
What? I just, nothing about this line makes sense, really and truly. What Aaron Patino did last week is crazy. And this is a guy, obviously they're at the 2A level. He's playing both ways, receiver and defensive back. But anytime you pick off 5 passes, maybe stop throwing it in his general direction. But Patino was all over the place. But you talk about a guy who's doing it in every single facet of the game. You know, obviously on the defensive side, and he returned 2 of those interceptions for touchdowns. But he is also a key part of that LaPryor offense as well. Have yourself a game, young man. And then the punting aspect of it is also impressive. But the thing that stands out to me about Aaron Patino is that this is a guy who's taking care of his business off the field as well. You know, look at him, he's in the National Honor Society, he's on the AB honor roll. You know, the Built for Tough Player of the Week honors excellence both on and off the field. And Aaron Patino, 5 interceptions is excellent on the field. But what he's doing in the classroom and outside of the bounds of the 100 yards of green is I think, very impressive.
Again, what doesn't Aaron Patino do for LaPryor? That can be his mantra under Class 2A Built for Tough Player of the Week. And congrats to all of our award honorees as we put a bow on the entire show. Up next, looking ahead to Week 9, we got more players and more big games that we got our eye on, Tab. We'll roll those out next when the show continues. The Built for Tough Player of the Week show is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And we roll out our Built for Tough Player of the Week watch list for Week 9. Who is the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine most excited to watch?
Well, there's a few. Adam Fogg, the receiver for Vista Ridge, has been excellent all year long, and they, of course, got that big win on the Hail Mary last week. El Paso Hanks wide receiver Michael Blanco is the all-time leading receiver in El Paso City history, so he's probably due for an award here, hint, hint. Braden Brashear, quarterback for Cameron Yo, going into the Battle of the Bell against Rockdale, a huge rivalry game there in Central Texas and major playoff implications as well. That is a huge game that's always big, but has a little extra importance this year.
Yeah, speaking of those important games, here are a few we'll be providing coverage of this week, Tubb.
So, kind of all parts of the state covered here. Down at the bottom, Dumas and Canyon is fun. Cameron Yo and Rockdale, the aforementioned Battle of the Bell. But we'll start with the only matchup of undefeateds in the state this week. That's Eastland and Wall. Wall, of course, you remember from Texas football days when they put a hurting on Mason at the Puncher Dome. They have kept on rolling. They got a big 14-7 win over previously unbeaten Jim Ned last week. Now they're taking on Eastland. Eastland has Barron Morton, and Barron Morton's very good. Barron Morton is the quarterback for Eastland. He is the new Texas Tech commit who is a dynamo. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch out there at Hawk Stadium. Meanwhile, the Battle of the Bell in Central Texas. No love lost between Cameron Yo and Rockdale. Rockdale suffered a rather odd loss last week to Troy, which makes this game very interesting as far as the district standings are concerned, because the loser of this game may in fact get Grandview in the first round. So Rockdale definitely wants to keep the V lit, and Yo would love nothing more than to go to Rockdale and come home with a win. Meanwhile, opening district play. What? Dumas and Canyon in a huge matchup in that Region 1 of 4A Division 1. Remember, Aaron, there are only 18 teams in that region. So if you talk about the type of game that can set you up for playoff success, here is one. Dumas has been sensational. Canyon looking to make their own mark. This is going to be a lot of fun out there in the Panhandle.
You're just jealous because you still want Shedeur Sanders gold fans, right?
So cool. I am not cool enough to pull that
Styling
off.
and profiling. All our winners were. Congrats again to Colton Marwell, Kaden Casey, Cooper McCollum, DJ Brown, Aaron Patino, and Shedeur Sanders. Your Week 8 Built for Tough Players of the Week, as we look forward to seeing you back here same time, same place, kiddos, for Week 9 of the Built for Tough Player of the Week show.